everyone, welcome back to another session of Banks Wants You to Know, your all new source for financial discipline and literacy. So for the past few weeks, we've been in a set of videos that I've been calling the Paycheck series, which had me going over various tips, strategies, and plans, depending on the frequency of which you all get paid from your place of employment, whether it's once a month, once every 2 weeks, or even twice a month, which is actually different from once every 2 weeks. But today, we will conclude the series and kind of show some love to those who are getting those checks or those direct deposits once a week. So getting paid once a week, every week, may seem like a luxury to most people, maybe those on the outside looking in. Some people may think, oh yeah, since you're getting paid once every 7 days, you've always got money. I know someone out there has thought that same thing. If you know of someone close to you who has had a job that pays them weekly, or even for the ones who have this type of pay schedule now, or even sometime in the past, you may have thought handling money will come easy to you since you're kind of getting it so constantly, at least more than others. But maybe something like this has happened, as those weekly checks continue to roll in. Maybe those not so good money habits started to take over. Like, maybe some problems would come up, or those spending habits. Eventually you start living week to week, paycheck to paycheck, something that we don't want. So is it the lifestyle? Is it too many bills and obligations? Or is it the money that's just disappearing? Could be a mix of those things, or could be all of those things, or one of them. So in today's episode, let's see if we can touch on those recurring money issues, and hopefully I can give you all some guidance on how to manage your weekly pay. So if you're currently getting that paycheck every week, this one is for you. If you know someone who's getting money every week just like you, direct them to this video. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So let me preface these tips with a little transparency. Out of all the pay schedules that I've covered so far on this channel recently, this is the only one that I personally have not dealt with. In my mind, it probably would have been lovely to have this experience of having money in my hand or in my account every week. But then again, I could have possibly run into the same problems that I just mentioned earlier. Now, I did see my father, hold various jobs that paid him every week. And I was able to observe, maybe from the outside, what he did to manage his funds from those weekly checks. Now, some of those methods I observed were good, while others, in my mind, not so good. What I've noticed throughout life is you can not only learn what to do, from watching others, but you can also learn what not to do. And that can apply in other areas of life as well. Like your own mistakes does not have to be the only source of learning in life. It could be from others, unfortunately. And that can go, like I was saying, that can go for anything. And I'm not gonna put too much of my dad's business out there, so I'll just leave it there. Say that I learned a couple of things just seeing how he managed weekly pay. But I say all that to say the information I will give you today will come exactly from those observational experiences, and maybe just thinking of things that I would have done if I experienced this weekly pay on jobs that I've had myself. Most of the times in these other videos, it will come directly from personal experience, so this is an outlier to that. If you refer back to a previous video, I outlined and explained a 3-step process of how you all can manage your funds as soon as you get paid. Those steps were strategizing your bills, or really their due dates, determining how much you can or want to save, and then you make a decision on the rest of the money. So I'll start off by focusing on that first step once again, which is to develop a strategy for those bills and obligations you have. And getting paid once a week can make this process a little more tedious than it would be for the other pay schedules due to the constant frequency of pay. Now, it takes a little more thinking and planning as well, but that's why we're here getting these tips, right? The strategy comes in when you decide which bills you want to have in certain weeks, or basically in certain parts of the month. For example, you may decide, like out of those 4 weeks in a month, they're generally 4 weeks in a month, you'll choose, if you have 8 bills, you'll choose 2 bills to pay each week to kind of equal it out. Or you could load up on some of the weeks and give yourself a free week, and we'll go more into that later. Whichever style you choose, make it work for you and your budget, and actually choose a strategy and stick to it. By choosing a strategy for your bills, it eliminates that problem that we tend to run into sometimes of maybe running out of money or seeing your money disappear. So instead of that money disappearing, we're able to keep track of where it's going easier by developing that strategy that can work for you. All right, so first whiteboard example I have here, wrote out a kind of a sample structure of bills. So like I was talking about earlier, let's say you have 8 bills, 8 responsibilities that you have. There's 4 weeks in a month. You can strategize it to where you're only making 2 payments per week, so that you're able to, save or do some type of spending, whatever the case may be. Obviously, here, if you've looked at my past videos, you would have to pull some extra money from another part of the week, or of the month, I should say, to cover this off of $750 a week. You're really using the same amounts that I've been using in the past couple of weeks. I've been using $1,500 every 2 weeks or semi-monthly, so I'm going to split that as if we're getting $750 a week. So what I have, let's focus in on week 3. On week 3, we got 2 very kind of low amounts, and we can see that as like a break week. And once again, we'll talk about that later. So you could either kind of equalize it like this. You can do it by amount, where if you have payments of a similar amount, so that you can be able to save somewhat of the same amount, then you can do that as well. There may be some weeks where you may have a little bit, only a little bit, just because you have to make these kind of big payments, especially in week 1. If you pulling money over to make this payment, that means you may have a little bit less in week 1, a little bit less in another week, and I can suggest maybe of that, the week that you can pull some to supplement this payment will be one that you spend the less on. So those are those type of strategies where you can really format your due dates, your payments to come out to fit the budget that you aspire to have, that you would like to have. All right, so the next tip I have is one I hope can resonate with you all, especially after talking about some of the issues that we may run into with handling money that I went over earlier in the video. One problem that I see with managing money is simple, that we don't. We may spend too fast on the things we want as soon as we get that direct deposit or that we get that check. Sometimes we spend it over the things that we need, or neglecting the things that we need, which really doesn't give us time to assess the money that we really have. By the time the money is spent, we can't identify what can be saved to build either an emergency fund, to prepare for a vacation, to purchase something big, or really anything like that, anything that comes to mind. Something that I like to say is, you get money, you save money. I know there may be a situation that may not leave you with much to save due to the amount of bills and obligations you may have, but I'd like to still encourage you to start with even a small amount and with a goal in mind, no matter how long it takes. It may mean 1 or 2 less purchases from Amazon, but trust me, it will be worth it. I believe if you're getting money in your hand each week, then there should always be a portion saved from each check each week. Now going back to that first tip, if the due dates from your bills are set to your liking each week, then you can see how much money you can save. It can be the same amount or it can be different depending on how much you have available. A good practice is to go ahead and move that amount that you want to save or withdraw it out of your account before you start to spend it on various things, because before you know it, your savings for the week can be spent and you'll miss out on that opportunity to grow your savings balance. Now we're back to the bills schedule here. Still at the same amount of $750. I'm gonna skip week one. We're just gonna kind of, maybe we'll tough it out with this one. Start back with week two. All right. So what I've done here is pretty much wrote out the amounts that would be available if this was your bill schedule. But of course, we got things to do. We got events that we want to go to. We got things that we see that we want to buy. We might not be able to save all of this. Plus, some of this has to go up to pay the rent. Now, the past couple weeks, I've been allotting $550 to go up here to pay the rent or pay your mortgage, whichever one you have. So let's just for numbers' sake, let's say, all right, you haven't saved before, you're trying to find an amount to save. Let's start with 20. Even a small amount that you can break out, and you can start to build on that. That'll amount to $60 a month. $60 times 12, that's $360 that you've saved over a year. And that can go to anything, or you can continue to do that over year 2, year 3. That'll get you over $1,000 that you could put on anything, and just kind of match it up with your budget. If you're able to save more than 20, then that's great. If not, then I'll still encourage you to save whatever you can. And this is just another way of strategizing as well. Save whatever you can to build what you want in your future. All right, so we've arrived at the last tip number 3. This one that I have for you all today should hopefully provide a relief in this struggle of managing our money week to week. Earlier, I stated that if you're getting paid every week, you should be able to save something from that check each week. But I also believe you deserve to have a free week to do what you want and what you desire to do with your money that you've earned with hard work. What I mean by this is a week free of bills and obligations, if possible. Now, there may be certain loans or garnishments that are scheduled to debit your account each week to kind of line up with your pay schedule, basically so that they're getting their money each time you're getting paid, so there won't be any shortfall or delinquency of any kind. And then you may not be allowed that flexibility to change that. But if that's the case, having 1 or 2 small payments in a free week you have designated for yourself will be fine. And also, don't want us to go wild spending on these free weeks either. Of course, you can treat yourself to something that you have your eye on, but this can also be an opportunity to look at other avenues, like boosting your savings with a big deposit, making an additional payment on a loan to get it paid off quicker, or to set aside some funds towards a vacation in the summer. The possibilities for that free week can be endless if used correctly. Giving yourself a free week is the result of having a plan developed for yourself, and it can be a huge stress reliever. So on the other side of this, however, is possibly having less money in other weeks. Bills typically occur, at least the big ones, either at the beginning or the end of the month. So those weeks could be the ones where you may have less money to spend available. But you can turn that imbalance into a balance in your mind by seeing more of your free money or that discretionary income in a free week. Or if you wanted to make it 2 free weeks, if you're able to do that, that's even better. But turning that imbalance into a balance. That's what we're all about here. One of the three B's. All right, so I've been waiting to get to this to really show how you can get a free week if you're getting paid every week. Now, as I was just mentioning earlier, I did set week 3 on purpose to have the kind of the lowest, the 2 smallest bills. We could leave it like that, and what I had up here earlier, you're only paying $105 in bills. You're getting paid $650. That'll leave you with $645 available. I mean, it could be a big savings deposit, like of, let's say, $300. That leaves you with $345 that you can do anything else with, like investing, spending. You can set it aside for vacation. You can do anything with that $345. Or let's say you don't want any bills altogether in week 3. We can add, maybe let's say we just add this TV bill to week 2, add this gym bill to week 3. Now all of a sudden, even though it adds more to your bills for week 2 and for week 4, especially in this, since you're already kicking out $650, and then you may run into where you may have 2 straight weeks of limited funds. You'll balance that out with, in week 3, $0 to pay, and all of this to use. And I would say use it wisely. I'm not saying you could do a $300 or $400 deposit to your savings account. Now just imagine that. Let's say you did $300 from that free week of week 3. You put $300 in, and maybe you decided, okay, I'm going to, from week 4 and week 2, I'm going to put in an extra $20. So that's $340. That's over $4,000 that you could save in a year. See, that is where saving gets you. That's where smart money usage can get you. Applying that discipline to where, like, okay, I have a free week, but I'm not gonna just kind of spend it all. I want to treat myself, yes, but I also want to be able to be a good steward and save some of it, and for a rainy day, for whatever goals that you have in mind. So there we go. Hope that visual worked out for you all, but it just kind of gets me excited, makes me want to, maybe I should find me a job, maybe I should find me something where I can get paid each week so I can achieve that. But hopefully that energizes you all to save in a manner that works for you. As I conclude the paycheck series that's been going on for about the past month or so, I hope you all have learned something valuable that pertains to the pay schedule that you're currently in with your job or with your business. The main thing I want to get across to you all is, no matter how often you get paid, how much time is in between paydays, or even how much or how little you're getting paid, there's always a way to manage your funds, to save some money, and to give yourself some relief when you need it. If we start with a plan and stick to it, you will start to see the fruits of your labor. So start this as soon as possible, maybe even with your next paycheck, because I want us all to succeed in our financial journey. There's no need to worry. And that leads me to the verse of the session. It's a long one, so bear with me, but it's very beneficial. And it comes from Matthew 6, verses 25 through 34. And it reads, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? And why do you worry about clothes? See how the flowers of the field grow? They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all of his splendor was dressed like one of these. If this is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For the pagans run after all of these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all of these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Now, I don't even have to explain this any further. Let the word talk. I can end this session right now and just walk off. I could. This is self-explanatory. But really all I have to say is the Lord, he led me to this verse because, I'm just thinking about the struggle that people have who get paid week to week and they're still living paycheck to paycheck, which likely means the worry of providing for self or providing for their family or others can really be deeper, could literally come every day, especially due to that short amount of time between paydays and still struggling to provide. But God is our ultimate provider, not the ones who gives us these paychecks. So no matter how deep in the dumps you may feel today or have felt recently, we can stand tall. We should stand tall going forward, because if God can provide for smaller creatures that he created, then he definitely can and will always provide for humans, especially those who seek him and his ways. So please reflect on this verse. I definitely will, because I feel like I'm talking to myself too. And I promise it will transform your mind into that of a positive and expectant mindset. I would like to thank you all for tuning in to this session of Banks Wants You to Know, where financial discipline equals financial success. And I really appreciate you all hanging out with me to learn some things about finances. And if you've heard something that you will find useful in your financial journey, then great. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who can benefit from the content, whether they're young or they're young at heart. Times are hard, but we can build financial success together. Also, please come in the comments, let me know how you've managed weekly pay, either in the past or how you're doing it currently, so I can see how things are going. Maybe I can learn from you all. But I thank you all, and class is dismissed.